investors should prioritize mentorship, which is very key. Mentorship alongside financial support. So look at, for instance, Andela's model. Andela scaled by training African software developers and connecting them with the global companies. So going forward here, I would say more entrepreneurship boot camps, should be introduced. And if they do that, then I will be able to thrive in business. And also, cross-border trade agreements can also help our business expand regionally. In conclusion, scaling a business is not just about rapid growth, but about sustaining expansion strategically. Entrepreneurs should be able to focus on building strong leadership, investing in technology, and adopting flexible AI, artificial intelligence, and cloud services. And that's it. You know, way forward here, I would say entrepreneurs should adopt a long-term vision for business scaling. Government also, academia, and investors should work together to create an ecosystem that nurtures scalable business, and yes. So I would say, I would say that yes, I think that's the end, and that brings me to the end of my presentation. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so much, Elvis. We now take one question from our online participants. Do you have questions?
No, madam. My presentation is there.
Okay. If there are no questions, we want to hear one. Just hold on, Sanjit. You'll present. Just give us 1 minute.
Yes.
We want to have a presentation from one physical attendant who has been here since morning, and then we'll get back to you.
Okay, no problem, madam. Okay.
Dr. Wanjohi, kindly. Please take down your presentation. We'll allow you. Thank you.
Yes, madam. Is it okay, madam?
I'm presenting first. Okay. I'm Jotham Kariuki Wanjohi, Senior Lecturer at Kere University. I'm Jotham Kariuki Wanjohi, Senior Lecturer at Kere University. And here I am a Senior Lecturer, I'm an external examiner in education. Okay. Education relies on systematic evaluation to ensure there is quality learning. Purposes of examinations to measure achievement of learning outcomes, to guide instructional objectives, to facilitate placement and progression, to identify learning gaps, to encourage goal-driven learning. Okay. importance of examinations, promoting of cognitive skills, encouraging discipline, providing feedback, ensuring equity in education, and fostering motivation. Okay, characteristics of a good test. It must be varied, it must be reliable, it must be fair, it must be comprehensive, and it must align itself to education objectives. Objective exam setting. This is where the issue is. And I have tried to summarize this. Use of Bloom's taxonomy for cognitive levels. Ensure balanced question difficulty. Ensure diverse question types. Ensure inclusivity and accessibility. Integrate technology. Go on. Go on. Okay. Here, I use social learning theory of Badura. And the social learning theory is about observation and imitation. It's about reinforcement and motivation, and all education or learning in a social context. Okay, marking. Marking ensures fairness and consistency in grading. Using rubrics and calibration exercises. Apply moderation and review mechanisms. Minimize bias in examination. Okay, challenges and errors, subjectivity, your subjectivity, biased topic selection, inappropriate question difficulty, ambiguity in question framing. Recommendation. I recommend that when you are setting an exam, have very clear objectives. Diversify assessment methods. Train your educators. Incorporate technology and continuously review the examination process. Mwisho. Conclusion. Examinations are vital in assessing learning, and they are also used in improving education by enhancing the objectivity, fairness, design, and assessments are more effective. That's all.
Thank you, Anjoy, for that presentation. Sanjit?
Yes, madam.
Yes, please.
I'm coming.
Please proceed.
Yeah, madam. This is about addressing inequalities and fostering resilience for sustainable development in Ghana and African countries. So the name I have given is African Renaissance Disruptive Strategies for Sustainable Progress in Climate and Environmental Change and its Inequalities. Now let me introduce that overview of the pressing need to address inequalities and build resilience for sustainable development in Ghana and African countries, and the significance of the research topic in the context of the African Renaissance movement. Now, this is how I have done. Objective, it will approach scope, progress, challenges, innovation, research mobilization, and community resilience. The main statement of the problem is that the nexus of climate, environmental change, inequalities, and resilience building efforts presents a complex and pressing challenge for sustainable development in Ghana and Africa. Despite growing recognition of the interlinkages between environmental degradation and socioeconomic disparities, significant gap persist in understanding the nuisance dynamics and identifying effective interventions. This statement of the problem aims to delineate the key issues and gaps, which are inequalities in climate change, vulnerability, and adaptation. Then resilience building strategies and their effectiveness. Then policy and governance challenges, lack of integration and coordination. These are the statement of the problems. Now, the main research objective is, the primary objective of this research is to conduct a comprehensive analysis of the intersection between climate or environmental change, inequalities, and resilience building efforts in Ghana and African countries. This entails examining the underlying drivers of climate environmental inequalities, evaluating the effectiveness of existing resilience building interventions, assessing institutional arrangements and policy frameworks, exploring community perspectives and practices, and developing actionable recommendations for promoting equity, resilience, and sustainability in the face of climate or environmental challenges. Now, the research question is, how can the complex interplay between climate, environmental change, inequalities, and resilience building efforts be understood and addressed to promote equitable and sustainable development in Ghana and African countries? Justification of the research. This research is crucial due to the pressing need to address the intertwined challenges of climate, environmental change, inequalities, and resilience building in Ghana and African countries. Several key justifications underscore the significance and urgency of this research endeavor, like, for example, addressing urgent development needs, enhancing resilience to climate risk, informing policy and programming, empowering local communities, supporting sustainable development goals, that is SDGs. Now, the research hypothesis is increased exposure to climate change impacts is positively associated with heightened socioeconomic inequalities in Ghana and African countries. That is mentioned by Adjer in 2007. Hypothesis 2 states, effective governance mechanisms contribute to building resilience and reducing vulnerabilities to climate-related risks through inclusive decision-making and inequitable resource allocation. That is Agrawal 2008 and Iyer and Hogg 2009. Hypothesis 3 states, community-led resilience building initiatives supported by social capital and collective enhance adaptive capacity and promote sustainable development outcomes. That is Tanner in 2015 and Maniena in 2011. Now, the literature review, inequalities, Dr. Adwa states that climatic change impacts vulnerable pollutions disproportionately, poverty, gender inequality, and environmental degradation heighten risk. Both the first one, climate change impacts, was Adjer in 2007, poverty, gender inequality, and environmental degradation heighten risk by Brooks in 2005. Inclusive policies are crucial for climate resilience. That is Oxfam International in 2019. Environmental sustainability, Dr. Kwame and Dr. Ama. It states urgent transition to low carbon economics is essential. That is in IPCC 2018 and UNEP 2020. Education and awareness promote sustainable lifestyles. That is Liel Filoho in 2019. Now, governance challenges, Dr. Mensah. The key findings are strong governance needed for effective climate adaptation. That is Agarwal 2018. Inclusive decision-making ensures equitable resource distribution. That is IS and HUQ in 2019. Resilience building efforts, Dr. Yeo. Community-led initiatives enhance local resilience. That is Tanner in 2015. Social capital strengthens resilience to disasters and climate hazards. That is Maniena in 2011. Now, expected findings and recommendations. the mining, number of active mining sites, now the calculation is 85. Ghana Chamber of Mines annual mining report has stated. Percentages of land affected by mining is 12% of total land area. That is Environment Protection Agency EPA mining activities is the reference. Volume of water bodies impacted by mining waste, that is 30 rivers contaminated. That is UN Environmental Ghana Environment Monitoring data has stated. Deforestation rate due to mining activities, that is 2,000 hectares per year. Ghana News Agency deforestation report is the reference. Now, illegal fishing, estimated annual loss of fish due to illegal fishing, that is 120,000 tons. This has been stated, referenced by Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture Development Fisheries Sector report. Impact on local fishing community, 15,000 fishermen affected. That is Wildlife Fund WWF Ghana illegal fishing study has stated it. Then expected findings on land excavation. Area of forest cleared annually for excavation is 60,000 hectares. Forestry, referenced by Forestry Commission of Ghana annual forest report. Types of ecosystem affected by land excavation, that is forests, savannas, and wetlands. That has been referenced from Nature Conservation Council NCC Ecosystem Impact Assessment. Soil erosion rate due to land excavation, 5 tons per hectare per year. United Nations reference. Development Program UNDP soil erosion study. Plastic use or waste. Annual plastic consumption per capita 35 kilograms. World Bank data plastic consumption statistics. Amount of plastic waste generated annually 1.5 million tons. Plastic Punch Ghana plastic waste generation report. Percentage. Now, percent of plastic waste is 15%. Ministry of Environment, Science and Technology and Innovation plastic waste. And recommendation and strategies. The following are the recommendation strategies. That is development of National Climatic Change Action Plan NCCAP, expansion of renewable energy infrastructure, promotion of community-based conservation and sustainable livelihood, development of green economy strategy and implementation plan, adoption of climate smart agriculture practices, implementation of afforestation and reforestation programs, enhancement of public awareness and education, engagement in international collaboration and advocacy. Now, strategies for sustainable progress. These are big climate change plan, increase solar and wind power, support nature friendly communities, develop green economy strategy, promote climate smart agriculture, expand tree planting initiatives, educate about climate change, global collaboration. Then among it is also most important is empowering local communities through teamwork, diversity, inclusion, capacity building, knowledge sharing, strengthen institution governance, facilitate access, foster social cohesion, partnership networks. So this will empower the local communities and develop. The conclusion, the main key insight is climate change exacerbates socioeconomic inequalities in Ghana and African countries. Effective governance and inclusive policies are critical for building resilience and reducing vulnerability. Community is in enhancing adaptive capacity and promoting sustainable development. Implications, efforts from governments, NGOs, and communities. Policy frameworks must prioritize inclusivity and equitable resource allocation to achieve resilience. Empowering local communities through social capital and collective action is essential for sustainable adaptation. Future directions. Further research is needed to explore the long-term impacts of climate change on vulnerable populations. Continuous monitoring and evaluation of resilience building initiatives to access effectiveness, advocacy for policy changes, and investment in community-driven adaptation strategies. So, acknowledgement and thank you.
Thank you so much, Sanjit. Would welcome questions if there are questions.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, madam. Yes.
And as we wait for
see, this is it is not. Yeah.
Thank you, Sanjit. We will wait for questions.
Oh, okay, madam.
The questions to be posted in the chat, and we'll look at them later. Let me invite Bitange.
Sure, madam.
Bitange Teresa, are you
Thank
still
you.
with us? If you are, please unmute.
If it's not there, Mabel Odima can present.
Teresa, I can see you. Please unmute.
If it's not.
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
Am I allowed to share?
Yes, please. Proceed.
All right. You can help me share from your end.
Okay. Teresa, are you saying you cannot be able to share? Okay.
Still loading. My document is still loading.
Okay.
Yeah. I can share now.
Yes, please do. As you start sharing, just introduce yourself, your topic.
I'm Bitange Teresa from the Cooperative University of Kenya. I'll be presenting my presentation on strategies of addressing informational barriers on women's participation in agricultural cooperatives. And I will present this paper with my supervisors, Professor Waweru and Dr. Charles Wambu. So my topic is information strategies for addressing barriers to women's participation in agricultural cooperatives in Kiambu County. And this study focused on the post-COVID-19 period, whereby we see women are very indispensable in the supply of agriculture, labor. They also play a role in security as well as economic growth, among other roles they do play. But despite these roles they play, they face a lot of constraints in access to money, agricultural inputs, informational resources, and these at the end ends up affecting productivity. So that is where the gap came from, and the study aimed to identify the measures that cooperatives are putting in place in order to address these challenges that women face in cooperatives. The study adopted people-centered development theory and also social capital theory. It adapted a mixed method research design that targeted 45 registered dairy cooperatives and coffee cooperatives. So it focused on two value chains, that is the dairy and the coffee cooperatives, and the total membership of 104,267 members in Kiambu County. Simple random sampling was also adapted in selecting the sample size, which was of 285 female members. The data was collected using questionnaires, focused group discussions, and key informant KI. Qualitative data was analyzed using descriptive statistics, and quantitative and qualitative was analyzed using content analysis. The findings showed that 46% of the female respondents were members in agricultural cooperatives for a period of 1 to 2 years. 6% of them were members between 3 to and 4 years, and the remaining, who are the majority, responded that they had been members for a period of more than 4 years. So that is a diagram that shows the duration of the respondents in the cooperative societies. And also, this study shows that women lack fundamental information when it comes to access of finance, management of funds, leadership skills. So qualitative data showed that women needed financial literacy and training on leadership skills, market trends, among other trainings that will enhance their performance. So that is a correlation analysis was done, and also regression analysis was done. Those are the correlation analysis results. I had a table. Yes, and that shows what was obtained in terms of the mean, the standard deviation, and the results showed that there was a significant relationship between informational strategies and women's participation in agricultural cooperatives. Then the study sought to know where they got their source of information, and that diagram shows what the source of the information through the annual general meetings, the agricultural extensions through educational days, and also the donor meetings. So they access the information mostly from the annual general meetings and also educational days. And yes, and then those are the correlational results. I've already talked about it. Also, the regressional results showed that a unit change in information of barriers could change a unit change in women participation by 0.24. And also the findings from the KII showed that there was need to sensitize women on essential and need of access or of resources. They also needed training and awareness. So the conclusions from the study concluded that various information-related barriers exist in Kiambu County, especially in the two value chains of agriculture and the dairy cooperatives. And the women lacked the fundamental information about the access of finance, funds, leadership skills, and even the market trends. And also, though it was noticed that the agricultural cooperative, the dairy and agricultural cooperatives that the members were sampled from had adapted various strategies in sending information to their members through sending of short messages whenever they were sending information. And also they were using vernacular language when passing information to the members. So the study recommends that cooperative meetings should be made in times that they do not coincide with the personal schedule, because this was a problem. The findings showed that the meetings were being scheduled when the members, especially the women, had personal schedules considering the gender roles they play in the household. Also, the findings showed that information did not reach members through social gatherings. So the study recommended that cooperatives can make use of the churches, schools, social medias to make those advertisements. And also, it also recommended that the cooperatives should also have special sessions whereby the women and even men should be sensitized on access to finance, management of funds, leadership skills, and even the market trends. Yes, those were the recommendations. And also considering the fact that this study was conducted in Kiambu County, an extensive research can also be done in neighboring counties to do a comparison of the results. And then I would like to acknowledge, because this research was supported by funding from the WINRAC project that is ongoing in Kenya. that is targeting on the empowerment for the COVID-19 recovery period, or that is on inclusion rights, and it is sponsored by the Canada IDRC. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Teresa. I can see in the chat, I don't know whether it is a question.
Okay.
Maybe I can open it up for a question for Teresa and also Sanjit. Yeah. If there are none, then Mabel, kindly go ahead. You can
Okay,
share.
thank you. You can, I can't share. Can you share what we have given you? I am in a precarious place.
Okay, just give
My
us.
gadgets have refused to. Yeah, I have 3 computers that have refused. I'm here with my colleague, Dr. Agnes Korir. I had not registered. So that's the problem. But if you can share my slides, I will just go right ahead and do what I must do.
Mabel, did you send us a PowerPoint?
Yes, we did. Agnes Korir here had sent.
Okay.
Dr. Agnes Korir.
Is it possible to just send it to research@mua.ac.ke?
Right. I am having issues to transfer them because of my gadgets. We've been here since 2. I think because I didn't register, there was a problem.
Okay, just let me know where did you send it to, then we can follow it up.
I think if you check with Dr. Agnes Korir, she's the lead in this. She had already sent the documents with you people.
Okay, just give us a minute then. As we wait, we'll just give us 5 minutes. We have Professor Gedai presenting, and then you can go ahead. Professor Gedai is attending physically. Allow him to present, and then we can go ahead. Professor Karibu.
Okay, thank you. Hi.
Thank you, coordinator and the moderator of the session. My topic is on the role of entrepreneurship in achieving sustainable development goals in Kenya. And it is done in conjunction with my student, Grace Wajamunge. And in brief, it's not moving. In brief, we are talking of sustainable development goals. These are goals which have been forwarded by the United Nations, and in 2015, and they amount to about there are 17 such goals intertwined to provide global challenges such as poverty, inequality, and environmental degradation. And you know, these are the major issues which are affecting especially developing countries. In Kenya, the relevance of these goals is underscored by the pressing socioeconomic needs that face the country, which you all know. One of them is youth unemployment, as was witnessed a few months ago when the famous Gen Z went to the streets because we have not been able to accommodate them in the job market. We are also aware of the fact that poverty rate in developing countries, Kenya inclusive, is quite high. And these challenges not only impede national development, but they also hinder the potential of millions of Kenyans from leading a productive life. The research was mainly not a primary, it was a desk research where we analyzed secondary data to come up with various conclusions and findings. On the background, I think this one has been done. By harnessing creativity and innovation by the youth and all those who are unemployed, it is clear that we can be able to address most of these issues. For instance, entrepreneurial initiatives in areas like technology, agriculture, and renewable energy are known to have been capable of fostering job creation, promoting financial inclusion, and enhancing food security in Africa and in many other areas. We are also aware that through social and commercial entrepreneurship, individuals and small businesses are not only improving their livelihoods, but they are also able to contribute to the broader development goals, such as reducing poverty and increasing the national gross domestic products. And this one is well articulated in SDG number 5. Likewise, a number of these SDGs are incorporated in all that. For our study objectives, the paper hypothesizes that the active participation of entrepreneurs is crucial to overcoming the socio-economic challenges that are facing Kenya. By investigating the substantial impact of entrepreneurship on specific SDGs, this study is expected to highlight successful entrepreneurial models and initiatives, explore the barriers to entrepreneurship development, and offer recommendations for leveraging on entrepreneurship as a vehicle for sustainable development goals in the area. And so, in so doing, the paper aims to underscore the importance of fostering a supportive ecosystem for entrepreneurs to drive significant progress towards achieving the SDGs in Kenya. On justification, the findings of this research is expected to assist the government in coming up with nice policies aimed at helping achievement of knowledge. It is expected to assist practicing entrepreneurs to come up with nice ways of enhancing their entrepreneurial ventures and to enable academicians and researchers like all of us here to get new knowledge which they can use when furthering their studies in entrepreneurship and the small business sector. For the findings, I think we'll analyze a number of researches. Like we had to come across some which are talking of entrepreneurship and how it is used as a catalyst for economic growth and job creation. For example, there is a Hilch and Peters of 2002. This study, it demonstrated how entrepreneurship has been defined as a means of creating, organizing, managing a business venture in order to make profits. And this profits is helpful in increasing national development, national GDPs, as well as job creation. In the context of economic development, these entrepreneurs play a fundamental role of innovation, creating jobs, contributing to overall economic development of the country. And these entrepreneurs are more important in developing nations such as Kenya, where the role of entrepreneurship extends beyond merely profit making to encompass social development, poverty alleviation, as well as community development. On statistics of small and medium enterprises in Kenya, we are aware that small and medium-sized enterprises constitutes a cornerstone of Kenya's economy. And according to the World Bank 2020, these organizations account for approximately 33% of country's gross domestic product, and they also provide 80% of employment opportunities in Kenya, which makes them a crucial avenue for economic development. They are instrumental in fostering innovation and competitiveness, which are key drivers in enhancing productivity and economic diversification. They also help in job creation, which reduces high unemployment rate that poses major challenges to the Kenyan economy, therefore assisting in achievement of a number of SDGs. As observed concerning youth unemployment and the need for job creations, Kenya faces a significant youth unemployment crisis, and I think this one is just a repeat of what we have said, which enhances the more need to enhance employment. These enterprises, they foster innovation, and they are good at wealth creation, which enables the country to face most of the challenges that it has. With appropriate support, these organizations will be able to help Kenya achieve most of these SDGs. Among the support that these organizations require is access to capital, mentorship, and training programs, which I think most of us are offering. The government's initiatives and policies aimed at promoting entrepreneurship are essential for harnessing the potential of the youth and reducing unemployment. Entrepreneurship has also been known to bring in innovation and technology, which is an enabler for entrepreneurship in Kenya. I don't want to go into that. But what I want you to do is just to have a summary, not really a summary, but a conclusion. Sorry, just a minute. In conclusion, this paper explored the multifaceted role of government and the policy frameworks in promoting entrepreneurship in Kenya, and its key findings included establishment of several supportive initiatives and programs. However, there are a number of challenges which remains unresolved to help in entrepreneurship ecosystem, and this includes access to finance, regulatory burdens, and market competition. The government's effort through Vision 2030, the Youth Fund, the Youth Enterprise Development Fund, and public-private partnership, which has been done in a number of occasions, in a number of years, signifies a commitment that the government has to foster entrepreneurship culture that is crucial for economic growth and innovation. However, entrepreneurship plays a pivotal role in achieving sustainable development goals, particularly to areas such as poverty alleviation, decent work and economic growth, and reduction of inequalities, and this should be more enhanced. And by creating jobs, driving innovation, and contributing to local economies, entrepreneurs are instrumental in advancing national and global development agenda. As such, supporting entrepreneurship aligns with the broader objectives of sustainable development goals and economic resilience. For recommendations, the paper recommends the following: that in order to enhance Kenya's entrepreneurial ecosystem, it is important that we improve access to finance. And this can be done best when we are collaborating with our partners and with the financial institutions to create tailored financial products for startups and SMEs, which includes alternative options like crowdfunding. It is also necessary to streamline regulatory processes, simplify business registration and compliance to encourage formalization, possibly through an one-stop shop for business services. For number 3, the paper recommends enhancement of capacity building through expanding training and mentorship programs focused on financial management and digital marketing and integrating entrepreneurship into the entire education curriculum. And number 4, Number 4, to strengthen public-private partnership, which is aimed at fostering collaborations between government and private sectors to innovate and share resources effectively. And finally, to leverage on technology so as to harvest in ICT infrastructure to empower entrepreneurs to adopt new technologies and improve competitiveness. And I think that is the end. Only that in summary, while significant strides have been made in fostering entrepreneurship in Kenya, continual efforts are necessary to overcome existing challenges. And by implementing these recommendations, Kenya can cultivate a vibrant entrepreneurial ecosystem that not only drives economic growth, but also contributes to achieving SDGs and enhancing overall equality of life for all its citizens. Otherwise, that's all for the paper. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor Githai. And now, Mabel, I don't know whether you're ready.
I will I'll present without the projection because I'm not in a place to be able to do so.
Okay.
I will do so very fast. Our paper was on, I am Mabel Odima and my colleague is called Dr. Agnes Korir. We are from Daystar University. We teach in the Department of Development Studies. Our paper is Equality and Equity Issues Relating to Online Teaching and in Institutions of Higher Learning. At the introduction level, we just saw that there is an increasing concern on the major gap that exists between the level of equality and equity that emanates from the online learning and teaching. The first one was to examine gender issues that were related to equality in online learning in these institutions of higher learning. We also wanted to explore gender issues that are dealing with equity or online issues, online teaching in this institution of higher learning. We wanted to analyze the disparity in treatment of those with disabilities in online teaching within institutions of higher learning. And we hoped our fourth objective was to recommend ways to improve online learning in institutions of higher learning. Next is the literature review. There was a cross-sectional review of recent studies, Canada, Nigeria, South Africa. It is a desktop research where we're just comparing results from different scenarios around the world so that we can draw conclusions. And most studies on online studies, they concur that teaching and learning was a useful tool that helped maintain continuity. And that continues to date, has impacted learning in a revolutionary way, even to date. However, equity and equality issues prevailed among different genders, male and female. The female learners were more disadvantaged than their counterparts, the male, due to cultural expectations and barriers placed on them in the context of patriarchy, sexism, racism, poverty, connectivity, and so forth. Disability also placed the persons who are able differently in precarious position because they're already an endangered group, they were also still an endangered group in these matters of learning online. Yeah. We looked at the methodology. As I've said earlier, the research was a desktop research, and it was not restricted to any geographical area. Equity and equality issues relating to online issues were the emphasis of the research, and the researchers sought to understand gender issues, especially dealing with equality and equity in academic settings, with emphasis on institutions of higher learning. And this became something of a major concern, as we all know, during this time of COVID. Sample size determination. We wanted to see what other people have done. That's why we were looking at studies that have been conducted between 2020 and 2022. And yes, and it was quite a limitation, but there is a wide range of studies. We had to select a few to suit what we wanted to achieve. Regarding conclusion and recommendation, we found that teacher preparedness to handle equality matters was not given adequate attention, even pre-lockdown times. So it was a key feature during the lockdown and continues to actually remain the same, yet online needs need to be institutionalized and foundation grown so as to defy any future catastrophes. Teachers require sensitization on equality in handling students at all levels and specific integration of the same in time of crisis. They may need an amendment in their teacher training colleges. Maybe we need to upgrade how teachers are trained so that we include such matters. Teachers need consistent reviews on the changing trends of online digital advocacy skills for themselves and for their students, because students may also be voiceless and invisible. So we want empowered students, but also we also want the empowered teachers who are equipped to be able to handle the diverse gender needs that evolve around equity and equality. So away from the student, we imagine that the teachers also needed to be impacted positively. We also thought that parents needed to have expanded knowledge on homeschooling skills if they were literate, and they also needed training and orientation on how to conduct schooling online and at home in the case of a pandemic scenario, but just also homeschooling, which is not a totally new concept in many educational spaces, can be strengthened so that we have different spaces to meet different needs for maybe special needs, but also just students at large. Homeschooling is a learner-centered approach that assists the learner to compete with himself at their speed. They may require some level of supervision, but then this can actually work well for our category of the people who have special needs. They may need to be given specialized education. And combining this in the context of online teaching and learning, yes, it is quite something. We also recommended that parents and families with children with special needs, they need understanding and they need access to training on handling the special needs curriculum and children so that they can equip homes with the necessary requirements in case of a pandemic or any other crisis ensuing. Support groups for such parents and children can be established so as to enable them to coordinate on how to care for such children in case there is such a need, and then also these parents and families can also burn out. They needed support on how to take care of themselves as caregivers. programs for caregivers are also very necessary in the communities so that caregivers can take breaks from special needs children while leaving them with other caring people who are qualified to assist them. Students at all levels need also to be empowered on how to face tough times. They need preparedness for any crisis, for adaptability, and we need to do these things more often so that we can involve.
A need for strong collaborations between universities and industry systems. Why? Because this is the route that we are going to use to be able to build Africa. Now, many of these joint engagements have taken very many forms, including training of industry personnel, involvement of adjunct lecturers from industry, co-development of new technologies, conducting joint research, curriculum development. We have seen our students getting attachment and job placement through these collaborations. But today, as we look at what the world is doing, we find that Africa has a long way to go. And we want just to look at to have a deeper understanding of these engagements within Africa, especially emphasizing on the multifaceted dynamics that influence knowledge exchange and innovation, laying the blueprint of future engagements. Now, the methodology that was used, we used a systematic mapping of the literature that is available. Out of this, I used a procedure. This procedure is not mine. I borrowed it from the writers there. One, this procedure provides for an unbiased, fair, and valid assessment of current literature. It also identifies research gaps and also collects evidence for future development directions. So the methodology involved clarification and mapping of the topic of the selected literature. I used keywords, words such as engagement, academic engagement, industry, university collaborations. We looked at barriers, challenges, Africa. Those were the keywords that we used. And the methodology, we looked at we used a software to be able to actually identify whether we have successful collaborations within Africa. We then went to number 4, identification of the gaps in the existing knowledge, and we were able to prepare a future workout from a university perspective. Remember, we are universities. We are looking at what are those things that form barriers towards this successful engagement. We then recommended guidelines of what should be done, and also we thought of recommending what in the future these things should look like. So what were the results that we saw? One of the things that we saw is that most of these collaborations hinge, as I said, on exchanging information, knowledge, and expertise. So if you think about what you're doing with Japan, does it fall here, where we are exchanging information, knowledge, where we are having joint publications, workshop, conferences, such as this? That's why we are having partners here. But we find that there are challenges, even from literature, and looking at our own, the universities and what they are doing. This is what literature is saying, that the challenges are there are no enabling policies. There are no frameworks on how we should do this better. There is inadequate funding and infrastructure. We have, as faculty and researchers, little research capacity to be able to do these collaborations. We have a disconnect, and you heard this morning that there is a disconnect between academia and industry. There are cultural differences that would come in the middle. We have trust deficit of trust in one another and where we want to go. And Dr. Abraham this morning or this afternoon told us that intellectual property rights has also been a hindrance to successful collaborations. Now, this review highlighted challenges associated with specific context of the African economy. You would find that these collaborations are very few between universities and small and medium enterprises. When we go to large enterprises, we are looking for funding, we are looking for expertise, but when we think about SMEs, we find that they are on the opposite side. They miss these things. So the university must be intentional to be able to approach SMEs. And for me, that is an area that we should think about. So what are our recommendations? If we are going to overcome these barriers, we need supportive government policies. We need investment in research and development. We need to foster a culture of collaboration. And I think the second panel brought it home, that collaborations is the in thing. That's what we should do. And not only joint collaborations, but even forming consortiums. Then build our capacity, and I think Dr. Nyamai mentioned it. We need to build the capacity, and also Dr. Rebecca also mentioned it. We need to build the skills, upskill upskill on innovation management, project management, and intellectual property rights. Now, what are my other recommendations as I conclude? Is to provide this review provides insight to policymakers, universities, and especially SMEs. Remember, universities do not target SMEs specifically. So this to be an area of reference for SMEs on what they need to do and how they need to engage with universities. And finally, remember this was a systematic review. No primary data has been collected. So the next step in this research is to go ahead and investigate those barriers, but how they affect the implementation of collaborations within the university. So I'm looking forward to partnering with others to bring this home in terms of research on this area. So if you wish to collaborate, let me know. That is an opportunity for us. So thank you. And I think that brings the end to our presentations today. I want to thank all those who have been online and have joined us online throughout the day. I also want to thank those who have been physically attending the conference from here at South Sea. How does our program look like tomorrow? We start exactly at 8, and we want to apologize for those who joined early in the morning and we delayed. We want to say we will start tomorrow at 8, and the place we are going to start is to have presentations. So if your presentation has not been heard and you wish to be heard tomorrow, kindly send an email to research@mua.ac.ke. We'll give you an opportunity. We'll be early together with other panelists to hear you, and I'm sure that you'll also have an online audience ready to hear you. Tomorrow we have an exciting panel talking about climate change and adaptation. Kindly join us even as we go to our second day of the conference. For now, bye-bye. See you tomorrow, and God bless you.
Noma Serna.
Moving in our midst.
Noma Serna.
I worship you. I worship you. You are here, working in this place. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, moving in our midst. I worship you. I worship you.
Noma Serna.
You are here, working in this place. I worship you. I worship you.
Noma Serna. Noma Serna.
That is who you are.
It's nothing short of a miracle. I've got some blessings
that is who you are.
I've got some scars.
You are here, touching
Noma Serna.
I worship